I love Otto. I'm a huge Otto guy. I don't know why people kind of look at you like a cuck if you use Otto.
Well, because, there's better, quality settings if you use manual, but you have to, be good at using it. And obviously I don't know all the settings yet, so I just have to, we have to get better. We have to learn. We have to evolve and grow.
Don't you in general think that robots and machines are more precise and better than humans though? Look at AI and all these advanced technologies. Don't you think they know more than people do? So if you use that theory, wouldn't Otto be better than manual?
Well, I just don't think the technology is... It's there in the world. I don't think it's there in the cameras yet. Or if it is, it's in that $30,000 camera, not in this, $900 camera.
I wish
absolutely nothing wrong with the
$900 used.
Yes, yeah, nothing wrong with the camera at all. It's just, there's no AI in there. It can't, it can detect light to an extent, but it doesn't make it possible for me to take pictures in the dark in automatic.
I'm telling you, this is why I'm a big camcorder guy. You just point and shoot, baby.
But you can't film in the dark with a camcorder.
You grip and rip and let it fly, baby. Yeah, you can. You ever seen Blair Witch Project?
What, do you got night vision?
It does have night vision. Yeah, it's all kind of green, but yeah.
We don't use it.
That would be badass. Maybe we make a Blair Witch Project.
Well, why don't we flip it to night vision when we, go and film in the mornings when we're walking into places and stuff?
You could do that.
Why don't we do that?
Maybe we will. And then people will be like, oh, look, he's hunting on feeder and hunting at night. I actually did get my first hate comment about hunting a feeder.
Oh, yeah?
I did.
What was it?
Let me find it. So why don't you talk through the week? What's happened? What have you been doing? Update. Give your job update.
Job update. Well, I've applied to probably 30 jobs or something, and it's all this online automatic stuff nowadays. Jobs don't post their own listings. A few jobs that I have applied for have, and those are great. Most of them are just through websites like Indeed, or you can even apply on LinkedIn now. So anyways, most of the jobs have been through Indeed, some have not. And surprisingly, out of all of those, one replied yesterday and asked me to further fill out some information. So after this, we've got to, get cleaned up and go make a 1-minute video on why I'd like the job. And then I got to, click the button to schedule an interview. So we'll see. That's for a medical marketing company. So, I'd have some things to learn, but, marketing is marketing. So we'll see how it goes, but other than that, that's then the only reply. I did get a reply from that super liberal job that just said my resume was being reviewed, and so I'd be contacted later on by the
faculty
recruiting people or whatever. Wow. But I don't know if I could do that job, honestly. It did have, if you get the top end of the pay scale, it did have good pay, but that's...
Pay is all relative. That's what's important to remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's how the job hunt has been going. And hopefully we have one before February 1st. Otherwise, have to go to the streets or something.
Jeez Louise, Martha. That's insane.
Start that OF, baby.
That would be lucrative. It would be lucrative.
I can't do that. But
I can.
So that's...
All right, you ready for this comment?
Yeah.
It's from Frank Dog -D5R on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Deer had you in range, 310 degrees. These places you are doing management is cool, but whitetail hunting on public land or even some private land is not the same. I'm sure you are aware of that. Can't move too much. Killing over bait is frowned upon by many hunters because it's not really hunting. Illegal in some states, but for management of numbers, it works. I, of course, threw a heart on his comment and I responded, okay.
I couldn't even tell, like,
Sometimes it didn't.
it was like a sympathetic hate comment.
Yeah.
Like, he was empathetic of your purposes for using bait and hunting,
Yeah.
but at the same time frowning upon it. So it
Hunting
was-
with bait definitely counts. I mean, this is my first time doing it, but it's kind of naive to say it's not. Like, I've always
no,
thought it was
they're
goofy that.
extraordinarily jittery still, regardless of there
God.
being bait on the ground.
100%. And what's honestly the difference between hunting a feeder and hunting a water hole or an
oak tree that's dropping, an enormous amount of oaks.
or a cornfield? Because that's not
Yeah.
considered bait. You
Yeah.
know, it's agriculture, but like you're sitting there for the same purpose. And I'm not here. I'm the biggest public land OTC guy. Like, we went over this, so like I'm there for the hardos, But
Yeah.
also
Yeah,
the
you're there for
hardos
the
are
hardos.
they're goofy sometimes.
Well, he used to be one, so.
I did for a short period. Well, actually, maybe a while, but yeah. Not anymore. Not
Yeah.
anymore. Other big news: we're recording in the morning. This is maybe the first time we've ever done a pod in the
Yeah, so
morning.
if my eyes look a little puffy, it's because I woke up about 20 minutes ago and I'm still sipping my first coffee of the day. So there may be a break in here, maybe when we hit the 30-minute mark, if the camera stops, recording for a coffee
a little refill.
Yeah.
I hit the gym this morning. I trained chest. Felt pretty good.
It's good. I hit the couch this morning.
I hit incline bench, barbell, flat bench, and then I hit a machine bench with a kind of a neutral grip. Then I hit cable flies, and then I hit rope tricep extensions. That was about 40 minutes, and yeah, good little set of reps, and
That's
then
good. That's good for you.
probably realistically put in 5 miles or so on the legs later. Just.
Yeah.
And I just sold a shirt and a hat right now on the pod,
Very nice.
which reminds me, get in on the giveaway
Yep. Till Christmas Eve.
till Christmas Eve. So this pod will be out. This is the last pod actually before it's over because it comes out on Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
The next pod. So this will
Yeah.
be the last pod while it's available. Really cool, to give away 2 bows this year. We gave away my SR350 and the Core SR, so 2 bows in a year. I think is pretty cool. Next year, maybe even. I think we'll probably have more giveaways next year.
We won't talk about it on here because I think there's some work to be done with it in planning. But I think that thing we talked about with Chuck's idea.
Oh, it's a great idea.
That's something we got to look into as an annual thing.
I will be
starting
doing
next
that.
year. Yeah.
Next year, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it could somehow be like mixed in with the challenge somehow, possibly. Like, I don't know, but.
Could be like announced at the challenge,
And speaking
annually.
of, the contract signed, sealed, delivered for
Mm-hmm.
Motorcycles 3. So it is happening. May 17th, May 18th with Bear State Bow Hunters once again. So really excited. I think year 1 was really good. Year 2 was a lot better. And I wasn't sure we could improve it all that much, but we definitely improved it a lot. Year 3, I think, will once again be even a whole step above,
Albie couldn't be
Number
out
2.
of the video.
So anyways, I'm excited to kind of get the event rolling. Got, 1 more hunt, couple maybe days of local hunting, then a big hunt, and then after that, it's time to go full steam on the event.
Yeah, I'm ready to get out there for a couple of weeks and freeze and sweat and hike, and I'm hoping honestly that my legs feel better
With your biking?
this year with the little bit of biking that I've short period I've had leading up to it. But I mean, they already do. What is he doing?
He's a goofball. This dog's a goofball, and I think he's about due for a haircut.
No, we're growing it out, baby. Yes, we are. We're growing our hair out.
I think
But,
biking will help your knees. I mean, my guess would be that it'd be a little more stable, probably a little stronger, which will help. What I'm interested is over the span of, let's just say we hunt for 2 weeks. Let's just make a guess of 2 weeks. I'm interested to see if you or Teddy can make it through all 14 days
Without any break
with no
days?
breaks. And if you both fail, I'm interested who has more breaks, you or Teddy.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna take any breaks, so like I'm not in the contest.
Well, we'll see. I haven't looked up the weather yet. He is being ultra needy this morning.
I'll be over there on the couch.
Giving me those sweet puppy eyes.
There on the couch.
I love you. Yes, I do. I have not looked at the weather yet to see what. What does he love his mother?
Yeah, he's in the pod.
Yeah. To see, if we're looking at like some snowy days, some cold days, some
there hasn't been much snow these last few years because.
Well, I just feel like it's been abnormally warmer this year all around the state, or the country. So I don't know that we're gonna have as cold of a days as we had last year, but I guess we'll find out. That's typically what holds me back. But we'll be icing and heating the knees and taking some ibuprofen and whatnot while we're out there. So hopefully they last a little longer. I just hate wearing the knee sleeves. They fall down. They don't stay in place, and they do help with compression to prevent some swelling, but they're irritating. You can feel them nonstop. Like every 500 yards, I'm trying to pull them up through the pants.
You probably need to put them on like over top of some leggings.
Yeah, maybe that would hold them in place. I don't know.
No picking.
Yeah, so I am excited to get out there for that hunt, because.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm excited as well, but I just thought to myself, unfortunately, I already spoiled who my secret Santa is.
You did.
But this pod, no, shoot, I can't say it on this pod because this one comes out, I would spoil it. So I'll say it for the next pod, what I got. But I do want to talk, we have some pretty big news using new arrows. Using new arrows moving forward. Obviously shot DCA for probably the last year and change and really enjoyed the arrows. For a price point arrow, tough to beat. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they're really, really good. The people are great. They're out in Ohio. And yeah, super excited, super proud of what we accomplished with them. I definitely know, I think we helped move the needle a little bit with them, and I'm proud of that, and I'm sure they are too. But we had an opportunity to basically work with a local company that also is, arguably the top arrow company in the world. So, it was kind of a no-brainer to take that change or take that change. And change is hard, sometimes it's not easy to change when you like people and you like a product. It's tough to make a move. But when the factory's right up the street,
or
not
down,
the factory, the factory's down in Mexico, but the office is right up the street. The factory's, just down the road here in Tijuana, where there's lots of other activities to do while I'm down there.
I think I'll take a spa weekend for that one.
I'll bring a new filmer that time.
Yeah, maybe bring Matt for that film trip or something.
But
I think I'll stay here.
But yeah, I shooting Victory now, and I'm really excited about it. I actually just got these built, these HLRs. And then for my target bow, I have I think they're called the VTAC 27s, right? So what I love about...
Tell me about this arrow specifically, though, because this is like the new Mac Daddy, right?
Yeah, this is unreleased.
You can't even get it on the website right now.
Correct. Yeah, this is unreleased. So Josh actually kind of set this change in motion a little bit. He called me and said, "Hey, James, I think you got to shoot this arrow." And I said, "Okay, well, tell me about the arrow." And he said, "It's basically it's a 5mm arrow, 204 diameter, which I've never shot an arrow smaller than whatever the standards are. I think they're like 246 or something. So this is a 204." And then there's the 166, which
so this is not a micro diameter.
It's right in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, you got to shoot this arrow. I think it's the best arrow for you and what you do. It's going to be really good long range. It's going to be good with the wind. It's also a good GPI. And yeah, I just think you'll love it. So they were able to send me some, and we were able to give them a try, and ultimately make the decision to, as a brand, move over to working with Victory. So big change. Other than that, you know, we don't have any new companies we're working with per se. Most of them are all the same for long periods of time, you know, and I'm very proud of the roster of brands that we are working with, you know.
Well, you took so long to choose to even work with companies.
Exactly.
And I think that allowed you we were talking about this a little bit last night, but I think that allowed you to stand on your own two legs when you went to start talking with companies. Because one, previous to even a YouTube channel, you knew what you liked. And then you stuck with that throughout, you know, your independence with your channel. And then, you know, now making that move to decide to actually work with companies, you can say, you know, yes, like this is, I've shot your bow for 20 years and, you know, I love the product. It's reliable, it's durable, it's, you know, workable for the human who can't get to a shop. And aside from that, like things like taking the move from wearing no camo brand, not this one isn't, you know, a sponsored deal, or not yet maybe, but one that you tried out the product, you knew that Ted had liked it for a long time, and you used it and you put it to the test and you said, no, this is something that, you know, beats other companies' prices. I'm not paying for the crazy expensive stuff. You know, the camo doesn't go crazy out of this world in patterns and whatnot, and the product is durable. Like everything you choose to do is because it still matches your core values. And so I think that's cool, and I think the reason that's possible is because you chose to stand on your own for so long, determine what your values are, even potentially before your channel existed, and continued to replicate those throughout your 5-6 years of independency. And I think sometimes people, they so badly want to get like out there, known in the world, that it becomes rushed. And that's where those changes start to happen year after year after year, because they haven't established what they like yet or what even works for them. On top of like knowing a brand's values or a company's values, and stability. And I think that sometimes rushing is not, it's not the best thing in the world, you know. I know it's always great to make money or, you know, be able to do it as a full-time job or whatnot. Here I am like, hey, hire me so I don't have to go to work.
Maybe in another year.
Another year or two. But you have to establish that first, because you can have the best intentions and you can have the best personality and you can have the best values, but what value do you offer a company? You know, there's always has to be a return on. It is business,
of course,
and they can value you as a person all day long, but what return on investment do they get for paying you? You know, like it's not charity. They have to run a business, and you manage to hold out long enough to build a brand and a platform that stands alone, and there is a large return on investment for them. And I think that was beneficial for you to do. So it's paid off in you know, being able to choose to work with companies that you want to work with, and like being things like circling back to that Victory. You have always been a San Diego, California homegrown hero, And
I don't know that some people might say a hero.
some people might argue with that
There's a
statement.
couple that, it's funny. I always say like the locals are definitely always the hardest on you. It's so weird. It's like they'll love you when you're like whatever, just like making videos and nobody watches them. But then once you hit like this certain point, it's like all of a sudden like, nah, it's too mainstream. They just like, even though like you're doing the same shit, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we've ever truly explained this conversation we've had on camera before, but
well,
now
I wanted
on
to touch
camera-
on the sponsor stuff a little bit because
Okay,
I do think
we'll filter
I have
down
a
later.
very unique perspective on this. You know, because now I am a two sport athlete, you know, so I made it in bike riding and made a living bike riding.
I'm getting there as well, yes.
But then 10 years later, actually more than 10 years later, now I make a living in a different sport, which is archery, you know. So how I was in the position to have already learned about this one time before. And
which is invaluable as well.
And most people aren't privy to that. And I can relate to people wanting to rush the process because, you know, when I was graduating high school, I was going straight from high school into the world tour. So like I didn't go to college or anything. And my way to, I mean, I would take any sponsor I could get, you know, because I really needed money. And at the time, I had maybe a handful of like companies that would pay product only. And then I maybe had a couple that would like pay some incentive stuff. And I had to go to my sponsors and say, hey, you know, I'm not in high school anymore. This is like my full-time thing and I need to make money. So like, unless you can pay money, I'm going to have to leave. And I am sitting 18 in these guys' offices trying to get money.
And it's a business.
Well,
like, for you, it's a business.
Of course.
As a person, you're your own company. Like, you know, a company doesn't just start up and say, I guess I'll just pay my out-of-pocket to get to Switzerland and Austria.
No.
And
yeah, but so anyway, so I'm 18 in these meetings, and of course I'm really scared, you know, like I'm talking to this main guy at the company, trying to get him to pay me, and I'm like, I haven't proven anything, you know what I mean? Like, I may have had a little bit of clout at the time, like online, because I was doing online videos on pinkbike.com, but like nothing, the numbers were minuscule, you know, like they're nothing crazy. And no one understood online then. So no one was going to sign you for getting online views. Like it just, they were going to sign you for event results. You know what I mean? Or print ads or whatever. We were doing print ads. You know what I mean?
yeah, I've seen the posters.
Yeah. So anyway, I signed a few deals and I was like, dude, I'm making bank. You know, I was making like $600 a month or something, you know. But when you're 18, like riding bikes, it like, you know, it seems sick. And then I got it up a little higher, but not much. Like I never made a ton of money. And yeah, I only really like. So anyway, coming back to archery, when I started Bow Disciples platform, first of all, I never thought it would even grow to the point where it is now. I never thought that. It wasn't on my bingo card when I started. It wasn't even my intention, right? I didn't care about people watching. I didn't care about trying to get sponsors. In fact, I didn't even want sponsors at all. For 5 years, I was like, I'm not doing that because I had already done that road. And I watched so many people both in biking and also in what I'm doing now. It's the same with any sport that offers, you know, sponsorship opportunities. When you're 17, 18, that's why you make the goofy decisions, you know, because you just, in reality, you feel like you've been doing it forever. You've been doing it, what, a couple of years at most. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I need what Brandon Semenuk has. It's like, it doesn't work like that. You know, like Brandon's been doing this forever. He's got crazy talent. He's got banger video parts. Like he's a professional through and through. He knows what he's doing. You are not that. You know what I mean? It's going to take, maybe you'll get there, but it's going to take a lot of time. You know, Brandon's been doing this since 2007. So, and he's still doing it now. That's a long time, you know? And in archery, it's the same thing. You see people sometimes pop up, and especially people that are younger or maybe impatient, pop up and just want to take like these like deals that aren't doing anything for you. And they're kind of diluting your brand. And honestly, a lot of times they look goofy. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but it's true. And I can speak to it from experience because although when I was a biker, I didn't take, if I got to give myself any credit as a biker, I never really took any goofy deals, even when I was that young. All my deals were pretty legit. The brands weren't like, I wasn't with the coolest brands, but my deals were legit. And, but I would watch a lot of guys do these real goofy deals, like these, they call them grassroots sponsorships, where you're like literally getting like a 20% discount. You have to run their stickers, and I was like, I am not doing that shit. You know what I mean? So I would just advise anyone, because I know people that listen to the podcast and want to be creators or kind of like do what I'm doing. And my only advice would just be, you know, numbers are the most important thing. I hate to tell you, they just are. So get your numbers to a point that where when you go and you look at Instagram, you look at TikTok, you look at Facebook, you look at YouTube, you got to go, okay, well, this person has good sponsors and they're making good money and my numbers are comparable to theirs, right? Yes. That is where you can go, hey, I'm looking to take this to the next level. You talk to brands, build some relationships, and hopefully get some deals done. That's how you have to do it. If your views are, you know, let's say a tenth of this guy, well, you're only providing a tenth of the value. And I know that in your head, it's easy to like be like, oh, well, I offer
about is better.
I offer something they don't. It's like, no, I'm sorry. That's not. Again, it's kind of the Brandon Semenuk young bike rider situation. You do not do the same thing.
Yeah, just
and not to say you won't. I'm not saying it's not possible, but you're not doing it yet.
Look, so I always look at it from, you know, you look at it from the ownership perspective, and I just look at it from like that outside third-party agent business marketing perspective. And I think that has helped tremendously over the past 3 years.
Well, I still wouldn't even have a sponsor on purpose if you didn't make me do it, basically, to be honest. And maybe that would have been good, you know, like right now it seems good that I have all the sponsors I have because like my deals are legitimate, like they're good deals, you know. But who knows, maybe if I waited 3 more years, my first deal would have been with Ford. You know, it's like you don't know. Right now, it seems like a good call. But anyways,
we'll see. Yeah. But looking at it from the outside marketing business perspective only, I think that these, when like smaller, you know, like whether it's YouTubers or pods or influencers or soon to be want to be but not yet influencers or whatever pop up, and like that is what they want to do, you know, they would love to transition from their full-time job to that. You have to, and you have said this from the very beginning, but from a marketing perspective, it is key. Research and analytics are the key.
Oh my god! I mean, how annoying am I with him?
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
I always make a joke, and I'm. It's kind of a joke, but I really think it's true. I think I know most people's analytics better than they do.
I think so.
I'm dead serious because I know everybody's numbers.
But that is important because that's the next thing I'm about to say is know your analytics, but compare your analytics. It doesn't make you a dick. It doesn't make you, ruthless. It makes you competitive. Because if you're wanting to get there and grow and be bigger, you have to be competitive. And how can you be competitive if you don't know your own competition? Because at the end of the day, it is a business, and that is what it is. It is a competition. I'm not saying you're trying to ruin somebody else's business,
what
YouTube,
you do doesn't
podcast,
affect
whatever.
Anyone else.
It doesn't. Yeah. But how are you going to reach the next level to be above them? Yeah. You don't know unless you look at the analytics. And then take those and learn how to speak to your analytics. So maybe you don't have the subscriber count that this, channel or podcast or Instagram account has, but you have better viewership. And we've seen that for you, a little while back, where your viewership, because you work the shorts, which is key, you have learned how, studying your analytics, what works for your channel. And you have learned to speak to those. I think companies or businesses or YouTubers, influencers, whatever they are, they fall short because they don't know how to speak to their own analytics. They just want to talk about themselves, and not in a selfish way, but like they are their brand. But how does your brand work? How does it influence other people? Where does it influence other people? What age demographic does it influence other people? What viewer count do you get? Where does it get watched? Get on every one of the, whether it's Social Blade or just your YouTube analytics, and get on there and study them.
Yep.
And then learn what is working for your channel and maximize it, and then learn how to talk to it, because those brands, if you can learn how to talk to your analytics and say, this is what I do, this is how I can benefit your company, this is how I can benefit you in comparison to these other channels or podcasts or
let me speak to that point
accounts
before we breeze by it. This is something new I've been doing, actually. Maybe not with companies that I'm already signed to, but ones that I'm talking to. And I may start doing it with companies I'm signed to, actually. But a new thing I've been doing is anytime I get, like a message or a comment that says like, hey, I saw you're using this. Like, why are you using this? Blah, 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 blah. Like inquiring about the products immediately. I used to like go back and find them and include them in the media kit at the end of the year. Now I screenshot them and I'll text them or email them to them right away.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, I'm getting this routinely, and that is what companies care about, to your point. It all comes back to brand recognition and more sales. That's what they're looking for. It's not that tough. And guess what? It's hard to move the needle if your views aren't high.
Correct. Yeah.
That's just all there is to it. And I know it sounds. Some people don't want to hear that. They
and there's different types of brands out there that maybe they're not selling. For example, one you've been talking to, I think you just did a pod yesterday with Howl, that have different purposes.
Sure, but even Howl wants to work with people with more views.
Correct, but that's because, again, their purpose is
to reach more people.
To reach more people. So brand recognition, brand reach. They want to get whatever their message, their cause is at the time, they want to spread that as far as possible, as fast as possible. To do that, you have to have viewership. I
do want to touch on one other thing, too, because it's one of the... You never know where you're going to see something that's like, wow, that's like, I never thought of it that way. But my buddy Zach, who's a fitness business coach, and he'd been doing that a long time. He'd been probably doing it as long as I have been doing Bow Disciples, right? We've been friends most of the time. And he did a post the other day where he said, like, essentially it was kind of like when people ask whatever, how my page has made it, blah, 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 or like how I've been able to be successful in business. And then he just puts a screenshot of his Instagram page and he circles the amount of posts he has. And then he goes to his screenshots, his current stories, and had like 12 active stories. And I'm like, that's the best visual I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because the only reason Bow Disciples has blown up as much as it has in the past 2 to 3 years is because I have put out a tremendous amount of content and I never miss, right? The thing is, a lot of people will get motivated and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to do it, and they'll do it like 3 posts and then they stop. And then they go, oh, I'm motivated again. They do 5 posts and stop. And my point is, you have to do it for 5 years straight. Maybe more. Maybe less. Maybe you get lucky.
I don't even look at it like if I were speaking to a company, I don't put a timeline on it. Because
No.
you can't put a timeline
You
on
can't.
it.
I'm speaking to creators. I'm saying if you really want to make it, like.
Well, I call creators companies. They are their own businesses. It's just the word is consistency.
Of course.
And if you are not consistent, then you're going to fall off the bandwagon. And so,
well, and you can't catch up too. Like that's why Zach's post I thought was so good, because one of the reasons I've always been confident that, I think within, I don't know how long, but I do think I'll have one of the biggest platforms in the space. In fact, I know I will. I just don't know exactly when that'll be. I've gotten much closer to that, but I'm not there yet. But one of the reasons I know it's inevitable that I'm going to make it is because my output is outrunning everybody. So it's like, I'm not going to be outproduced. That's just, there's no way. I'm not going to let that happen. And, someone could be bigger now, but, they might be posting, once a day, but I'm doing 2 to 3 on 4 platforms. They might only be posting once on 2. And over time, that race, it's like you're going to catch up or get past. It's one of the two. And I love it. I love this like a sport. Like you said, the analytics and stuff, like I'm addicted to that shit. I love it. And I always have. Like, I've been putting videos on the internet since 2007, and that's a long time to be in the game, so to speak.
almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years in the game, which is like, it's hard to be in the game a whole lot longer, like posting videos on the internet. That's almost as long as you could do it. Sure, there's videos on the internet slightly before that, but not really. Like, so I don't know. I really, to me, it's important to try to get conversations like this out there, because I was the guy in 2010 who was trying to figure out how to do this. And there's some good videos on YouTube of people explaining how to do it as well. This guy's called, I think, Loam Ranger. It's a biking channel. He has a phenomenal video on how to get sponsors, like a very, very thorough breakdown. So I suggest people go watch that if you haven't. And then in our space, Cam talks about it sometimes on his podcast. He'll go into the weeds on the business stuff, but a lot of people avoid it. Like, it's like taboo. I'm never going to do that. If I get fired by somebody, I get fired. But I think it's important because I want people to know who are aspiring to do it, even if they're 30. You can do it. Like, you can do it. And if you're 18, even better. But don't think it's going to be easy. Like, start now and grind for a long time.
Well, and this is not we're no longer in the age where it is new.
No. No.
Like, you couldn't even count the amount of people a day who are creating Instagram accounts, like, separate from their personal account, because they're looking, or YouTube's or whatever it is, because they're looking to create a business. They're looking to create whatever. This isn't like, we'll use Crispy as an example, because when I think it was when I listened to that pod he maybe did with UltraViews.
With Colby.
With Colby. You have to realize how far back
he
truly started. He was young, beginning in college, back before, Instagram and YouTube were these big hits that they are now.
Yep.
And so he really entered at the prime time.
Well, unless you started even earlier.
But
here's the thing. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because although I don't really know Chris. I've only talked to him one time, right? Like, so I don't know the guy. But when I started doing, when I was thinking about starting Bodisciples, I was kind of like, I wonder if anyone does anything like this. I had the idea to like go film 3D shoots and shit, and I was like, I wonder if that's a thing. So I like searched it on YouTube back in 2018, and the only one I found doing stuff like what I kind of wanted to do was Chris, right? And he was young, but he even had a back catalog then in 2018. So if I had to guess, I bet he started in 2016 or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look it up.
And another thing he said really good in that podcast, and I like kind of, I say it all the time, but like I don't generally listen to that sort of content. But I'm glad I did because they got into a lot of business stuff and I thought that was cool. But Chris was saying, it was a very solid point. He said, anyone can kind of do what I'm doing right now, but you got to understand the only reason I'm doing this right now at 27 and people think I'm so young and like that's crazy, he's killing it at 27, is because I started when I was 15.
Yeah.
He goes, the reason a lot of people you see make it big are 40 by the time they make it big, it's because they started when they were 34. And I kind of land in the middle. You know, I never say my age, right? But I land in the middle, right? And the younger you can start, definitely the better.
Yeah.
But not everyone's in a position to start anything at any given time.
Well, that's all I'm, the point I'm making is that you can start anytime. That's like, it's very possible. The world has just become more competitive because there's more people out there trying to do it.
Field too.
And at all ages, especially the younger demographic.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's as easy for the younger demographic as it was for people like you in biking and Chris B when he was
or me and Bo Disciples,
competitively.
Think about me and Bo Disciples. Like it's the same thing. Like at the time when I started, I was like, shoot, I started a little late. Like 2018's late. Now it seems like I was way early, even though I felt late at the time. So I think that's also a valuable lesson, is that it's always going to feel like you're late to the game, always. But in 5 years, it won't feel like that. So just start.
Yeah, I just think starting now looks differently than it did then.
Of course.
And you have to, I said this last night, you have to look at it as an actual passion. It has to be a passion, something you love to do. And that's not just the activity that you are filming. Like in whatever it is, whether it's fitness, whether it's archery, whether it's biking, whether it's skateboarding, scootering, whatever it is.
Off-roading, camping.
Yeah. It can't just be that actual activity that is your passion. The whole process has to be your passion, from the filming, from the creative standpoint, from the editing, from the posting, from the engaging with people on your social media accounts. All of that has to be a passion.
100%.
Because otherwise I can't say you won't succeed, because eventually you could make enough to where you can outsource, or you can meet someone like me. Not that you had a passion for all of it, but is somebody who's willing to help along the side, whatever. That stuff can happen, but it's not a guarantee to happen. Yeah. So if you truly want to succeed, you have to be passionate in all of those things.
100%.
Or it's going to take you, at minimum, it's just going to take you a lot longer than it would take somebody else.
Honestly, you probably won't. If you're not passionate about something, your workload capacity is not going to be high enough. Because, again, I think the story of me waiting 5 years to be fully independent before even attempting to sign a deal with anybody, I think that is a prime example of what you're saying, because obviously I'm passionate about it. I've shot bows since I was 3. I've shot animals with bows since I was 5. I've been doing it my whole life. I've also been filming videos since 2007 and editing them myself and putting them on the internet.
And you still to this day have no interest in, the only thing that makes you consider is what I continuously say, the time load that it takes off to do other things by bringing in an editor and filmer. But you prefer to keep that, filmer maybe, editing, you still prefer to keep to your own because you enjoy doing it, because you enjoy the creative process of what comes out on the other end that you produced.
Oh man, and I was going to continue, like I also I like social media, like I always have thought it was cool since it first came out. I always thought it was fun. And
well, you enjoy the amount of people that look at how many people you have met physically in person because you've met them online. Sounds so weird nowadays.
Tons. But my point is, like, I like a lot of things about it. Like I'm not most people Like I even like the like attention of it. And I know people are like, oh, that's an awful thing to say, but I think it's probably the case for most people. It's like they would like to get to a point where they have like some sort of like, you know, clout or whatever. And I do like that.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
I'll just be honest. I'll say it because I think everyone probably thinks that, but they might not say it. I'll just say it. I do like that part. I like connecting with people. I like just the whole thing. The only thing I don't like is when there's like negativity and trolls, but nowadays that shit doesn't really bother me. Like when I was in 2012, oh, that shit really bothered me. I actually quit biking damn near because of, that's probably why I quit, is like negative comments, literally. Now that I don't really care, but yeah, I think this is a great talk, and I think we should have talks like this more because it's just, there's so much opportunity in the world. Like, it is the easiest time probably ever to be like super successful. I really think that.
Well, and to create,
because the world's at your fingertips.
Avenues for
success.
Revenue, for
sure.
income. That doesn't have to be the trade school, the university, the business job. You know, back in the day, that was all there was.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can become unique in, you know, the wildest of ways. And so you just have to, like, we'll wrap it up and keep going, but like, you just have to be passionate about whatever that activity is, but you have to be passionate about the entire creative process of it and fully immersed in it. You know, like how many times do I tell you to put the phone down when we're having dinner or whatever, but you're like, I gotta comment back to this. Like, you just have to love to do it. And I'm not saying that I do think eventually at a certain point you have to set boundaries of like, because it is a business, it can't overwhelm your life.
I already have done that some.
Yeah, and as you know, you continue to grow, whether it's like starting a family, people do, or like, you know, you are bringing on employees, you have to set times and schedules, and you get more and more into the weeds there, but anyways, you just have to love all parts of it. You have to be fully immersed in it, and that is tough to do if you're also managing a full-time job, but it is possible. Like, you know,
it is possible.
Prime example of it, whether you work a 9 to 5 or you were a realtor or whatever, it's possible. You just have to love to do it. And I would say if you are passionate, like, you should
start today.
Yeah, start today and don't quit.
And there's
the thing.
And the thing is, it's easier than ever to start because basically any phone now films amazing footage, has good audio. You can even put external mics on them. You don't have to go buy a camera.
No.
In fact,
I would say probably most TikTokers out there nowadays don't own
almost
a camera.
all are using
It's all a tripod with a cell phone attached.
Yeah, you know, and I'm happy. I wasn't planning for our discussion to go here, but I'm really happy it did because I think this is good shit, you know. And if someone happens to be watching from a company that would like to potentially sponsor me, go ahead and reach out to bodisciples@gmail.com. Rockstar Energy is like my dream sponsor, so if they reach out, that'd be fantastic. And shoot, I don't know. The next pod, by the way, drops on Christmas. How fun!
It does, yeah.
How fun!
Yeah, that is fun.
And
we unfortunately won't be able to announce the winner or talk about it in that pod because
we could if we push the pod back one day. Should we just push it back one day?
Yeah, you'd have to edit it Christmas Day.
Honestly, I don't even have to edit it. I can just not do the crash zooms, and I can just upload it in one chunk.
Leave the whole pod, yeah, so then we can talk about it.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. And we're technically doing like our Christmas stuff Christmas Eve.
So yeah, maybe we pod and announce it on the pod, and the pod will just come out the day after, or Christmas, like later.
Maybe
in the
Christmas morning in like our onesies or something. Like if onesies happen to be here, you know.
Oh my god.
And sweaters for Albus, and
oh
you know,
my god.
with our hot cocoa, and maybe we'll open a present on the channel or something.
Should we talk about the hunt I might be doing, or maybe we wait on that one until it's a little more official?
I think we can talk about it. Like, it's very possible that you're going to do it, and even if you don't do this one, at some point you or we are going to.
Oh, I think I probably will be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you could talk about it.
South Africa.
Yeah.
What do you think of
You're
that?
joining the crew.
Yeah, what do you think of that? What did you say?
People are gonna hate you. I said you're joining the crew.
What's the crew?
Just the paid.
I love
the
it.
paid hunting
hunter. Oh, I love it. I
the
love it.
private land.
Oh,
and
my
next, all we
God.
gotta do is add a high fence in there.
Oh.
I mean, the verified check mark can go.
I'm not, yeah, that's insane. That's
man.
insane.
Yeah, but
shout out to
anyways.
my favorite when we post stuff like the feeder or the South Africa is just thinking about like the few locals that really hate me. Those poor bastards, dude. I feel bad.
Yeah.
I actually don't feel bad, but it is funny.
Yeah, it is. But anyways, yes, South Africa. I mean, I think we've joked or talked about it or whatnot. A little jealous that I won't be going, but I also need to focus on getting a job.
Well, it's just
surviving.
expensive. I mean, just
It
the plane
is.
alone's
It truly
expensive.
Is. I think we looked it up. The cheapest flight we found based
What
on
was it,
where
like
you'd be going
$2,000?
was just over $2,000 for the there and back.
Yeah, and I got to renew my passport because I haven't been jet setting since I finished biking.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, I have,
Is
but
this
all
the
in the
continent
U.S.
you've touched down on yet?
No, never.
No, okay.
No.
So add a new continent to the list.
If it happens, and it would be happening relatively soon, which is kind of crazy. So, I mean, I'm ready for it. I'm going to definitely put the bow in performance. There's some big animals, so we're going to put the bow in performance. We're going to shoot the Beast 2-inch, not the 2.3s.
And we're going to make sure it's got a strong case to fly in.
Oh, yeah.
Because it needs to make it there
I'm not
in
going to
one
use
piece.
my Plano.
No, that one, that I could pop a
My
pencil through the
case
plastic.
is beat, dude. But hey, it keeps trucking along.
It does, yeah. I trust it for our short, few hour flights.
I used it for every flight that I do. The only one I didn't use it was when I went to go with do Cam's show because I was like, with this big of an opportunity, I'm not showing up with a broken bow.
Yeah.
That's the only one. Other than that, I'm like, whatever. So it's been great. So shout out to Plano.
I'd almost find a case that you can fit like 2 bows in because that way you got a backup out there with you.
So I will say this about the case that I run, which
the depth
we can
is
see. I
unmatched.
actually love the size and shape.
Yeah.
They're just not the most bulletproof. Like the connections on the back where it folds, they always look like they're gonna burst and like fall out.
Well, and I just feel like.
But shape-wise, you cannot beat that case.
Well, not the depth. Like the cases nowadays just don't have that depth, the ability to pack more in them.
I mean, it's a full suitcase.
Yeah. But for a trip like this that you want to keep the bow safe, I would for sure have something that's durable. And then if you got to pay for an extra, checked bag for your actual luggage and clothing, then that's what you do. But anyway, so you'd be going to South Africa. It's a continent you've never touched down on, animals you've never seen before. I think it's like the next step, and I tell you like this, like the channel is not hunting specific. There are channels out there who have specifically geared themselves to hunting. That is not your niche.
No.
But it's still a part of the channel. And I think there are new avenues to be explored in there, just like you're exploring target shooting now for archery. That is another avenue within archery. So is hunting in new locations.
New species too, just whitetail, all this shit in South Africa. Yeah, a lot of new stuff. All within the niche. And then. Obviously, a lot of our bread and butter stuff will still be there. The fun stuff, 3D shoots, the, crazy challenges, like all that's still going to be in there, But it's like adding these other pieces to make it more of like a complete package,
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's just everything you'd want to find about archery but fun is found on this channel.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, I think that's probably a pretty good place to wrap up. I don't know how long we've been potting. Feels like a long time. But to close it out, I want people to just try to crush your goals and dreams, man. That's always like my thing. I'm so ruthlessly chasing what I'm trying to do. And I hope everyone finds something that drives them like that. That's kind of like the best case scenario, something that you just like are fully committed to doing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think everyone has something like that. Maybe not everyone, but like you just got to find what that is.
Yes.
You know, and then just go for it till the end of the earth.
Hi.
Okay, we're done. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Albie needs attention.
Please be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Go to the website, spend $10. Every $10 is an entry to win the Bowtech Core SR, fully ready to go. And then we probably are going to have another giveaway right after that. That'll just be like an Instagram giveaway, so stay tuned for that. It'll be free. And shoot, man. Bow Disciples Challenge, May 17th and 18th. Please show up. Want it to be freaking massive. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much. It's been a monster year. Very blessed. Hopefully the pods people have been liking. We'll keep trying to do them every week. And we'll see you on Christmas. Subscribe, please.